Have you ever felt like life is just one long punishment? Like every sunrise brings another storm you have to endure? If you've ever whispered the words, "I hate my life," this story is for you. It's a story about a young man named Ayan who stood on the edge of giving up, only to discover that the deepest pain is often life's way of teaching us how to be strong. Ayan wasn't always this way. As a child, he was a firework of curiosity, dreaming of flying planes, and laughing so hard that the neighbors couldn't help but smile. But as he grew up, the world seemed to chip away at his light. Disappointments replaced dreams. Confusion replaced questions, and his laughter faded into a heavy silence. By the age of 22, Ayan felt like a complete failure. His grades had fallen, his job applications were met with silence, and the girl he loved walked away, telling him, "You're too lost. I can't wait for you forever." Her words were like thorns in his heart, a constant reminder of everything he wasn't. One evening, he found himself on the rooftop of his small house. The sky was painted in brilliant oranges and reds, but all Ayan could see was the color of an ending. "What's the point?" he whispered to the fading light. "Every day is just more pain. I hate my life." He was so lost in his despair that he didn't notice his grandfather had followed him up. The old man, with his bent back and wise, sharp eyes, sat beside him in the quiet evening. Finally, he broke the silence. "The sunset looks tired today," he said gently. Ayan scoffed. "It looks the same every day. Life doesn't change. Nothing ever gets better." His grandfather smiled, a faint, knowing smile. "When I was your age," he began, "I thought life was unfair too. But I learned that life itself is never the enemy. My own thoughts were." He shared a story from his youth. "I was training to be a soldier, full of pride and ambition, but an accident shattered my legs. I hated everything. I thought God had cursed me. I felt my life was over." He paused, looking at Ayan. "Then I discovered farming. The very soil I cursed for my fall began to feed hundreds of people. If that accident hadn't happened, I would have never found this gift. You see, Ayan, sometimes life closes one door because we are meant to walk through another." Ayan's voice was barely a whisper. "But what if there is no other door? What if it's all just darkness?" His grandfather placed a wrinkled, warm hand on his shoulder. "Then you wait," he said softly. "You keep walking. Even your pain has a meaning. You just can't see it yet." That night, his grandfather's words echoed in Ayan's mind like quiet embers glowing in the dark. The next morning, with a small backpack and a heart full of uncertainty, Ayan left home. He didn't have a destination. He just walked. He walked for days, along dusty roads, until he reached a small town. There he saw children playing cricket, their laughter echoing with a purity he hadn't heard in years. He was hungry, so he bought some bread from a street stall. Nearby, a young boy was polishing shoes. The boy's clothes were torn, his face smudged with dirt, but he had the brightest smile Ayan had ever seen. Curious, Ayan asked him, "Why are you smiling? Don't you get tired of this?" The boy looked up, his smile unwavering. "Of course, I get tired," he said. "But my mother is sick at home. When I earn enough today, I can buy her medicine. Thinking of her waiting for me, that makes me smile." In that moment, something shifted inside Ayan. He realized that joy doesn't come from what you have, but from the purpose that drives you. He kept traveling. In the next village, he found a crowd gathered around a blind man who was playing a flute. The music was so beautiful, so full of emotion, that it held everyone in a silent trance. After the man finished, Ayan approached him. "How can you play so beautifully when you can't see the world?" he asked. The blind man chuckled softly. "Who told you I can't see?" he replied. "I see through sound. I hear the laughter of children. I feel the wind on my skin. I sense the love in people's voices. Why should I hate life for what it took from me, when it gave me so much more in return?" Over the next few weeks, Ayan's journey became a collection of these encounters. He met a widow who had lost her husband but now spent her days teaching poor children under a banyan tree. He met an old man who lived alone, painting sunsets every evening as his way of talking to God. None of them had perfect lives. Each had lost something precious. But none of them hated life. With every person he met, a new seed of understanding was planted in Ayan's heart. One morning he found himself sitting by a river. He watched the water flow, sometimes calm, sometimes rough, sometimes carrying mud and debris from a storm. But it always kept moving forward. He whispered to himself, "Maybe life is like this river. Sometimes it's gentle, and sometimes it's violent, but it never stops. If it stopped, it would stagnate and rot. Maybe I've been standing still for too long." For the first time in years, tears welled up in his eyes. But these weren't tears of despair, they were tears of release. He didn't whisper, "I hate my life." Instead, he said, I will try again. Months later, Ion returned home. His grandfather was waiting at the door. So, the old man asked, his eyes twinkling, did you find your answer? Ion smiled, a real, steady smile. Yes, Dada, life isn't something to hate. Pain isn't a punishment. It's a teacher. And I think I'm finally ready to learn. The old man's eyes glistened with pride. He simply nodded, knowing his grandson had found a truth that no book could ever teach. From that day on, Ion's life changed because he had changed. When faced with a challenge, he no longer asked, why me? He asked, what can I learn from this? He didn't run from pain, he walked through it, knowing it was shaping him. And as he changed, his world responded. Opportunities opened up. Friendships blossomed. Laughter, real and heartfelt, returned to his life. Ion's story is a powerful reminder that there is meaning in everything, even in our deepest struggles. Doors close to guide us to new paths we were always meant to walk. Pain arrives not to break us, but to build our resilience and uncover gifts we never knew we had. The true treasures of life are often the simplest things. A child's smile, a stranger's kindness, the courage to face another sunrise. Life may not always give us what we want, but it will always give us what we need to grow. If Ion's journey resonated with you, please hold on to its message. The next time life feels heavy, remember the boy polishing shoes for his mother's medicine. Remember the blind man who saw the world through music. And remember the river that never stops moving. Thank you for watching. If this story touched you, please share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of hope and strength. Remember, life isn't something to hate. It's something to understand, to learn from, and ultimately, to love.